objectively, the hardware of the Pixel 7 Pro is not worth the asking price. And I want to get that out of the way because it's something that a lot of people comment on online. But I think the device does deliver a flagship experience at a non-flagship price. To add to that, I would even say that in 2022, going into 2023, the Pixel 7 Pro offers a better experience than all of, or most of at least, the other flagship devices that it's competing with in a similar price bracket. Like it or not, the truth of the matter is that since the Snapdragon 865, performance for top tier SoCs hasn't really translated into giving us very different of a user experience. Sure, some things are incrementally faster, but the experience of opening and closing apps, shooting photos and video, and just using a phone hasn't really changed that much. It would be very difficult, if not impossible, for any and all people to be able to tell the difference in app opening speed or app loading speed between a Snapdragon 888, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, a MediaTek Dimensity 10,000 or whatever the newest MediaTek Dimensity is, because the reality is that we've kind of plateaued for what the speed that you can notice really is for most things. Now, this is something that most of, if not all, manufacturers have accepted, which is why over the last 2 years, we've seen manufacturers promoting and selling their devices less about the flagship earth-shattering performance specs that they have, and much more about what these devices can actually do, and adding feature sets and things that differentiate themselves from the pack. We see this with brands like Samsung introducing new features that Bixby is going to have. We see this even with brands like Xiaomi now touting 3 years of updates for some of their devices. And in China, Xiaomi has a fully connected ecosystem similar to Apple, which is why if you have a Xiaomi phone and you buy headphones from a brand like Halo or QCY or some of the other Xiaomi subsidiary brands, those headphones have a deeper integration into Xiaomi's software. And that's before we even talk about the whole Xiaomi smart home connected ecosystem. So it goes without saying that moving into the future, brands are going to begin to promote and sell these feature sets and these things that these devices can do differently than the competition. Now, this is something that we've seen companies like Apple always do. This is something that Apple has done forever because they have their own ecosystem, they have their own chipset, and they have their own very unique operating system. But now, with what we are seeing from the likes of Google, Google wants their differentiator in the marketplace, their standout feature that makes their hardware worth a higher price tag to be their software. Now, I can't convince you that the Google software experience is worthy of a specific price point. You have to care about software in order to value that. The same way you have to care about the user experience and the interconnectedness of apps to buy an Apple product. That's just something you either value or you don't value. And so what I would like to convince you of is the fact that Google is trying to make their devices smarter than the competition. And truly, using my Pixel next to my Samsung phone, it does feel smarter. It feels considerably smarter than when I use my Xiaomi phone with whatever custom ROM I had on it at the time. And it's something that I have now begun to appreciate because of the way I interact with my phone. In the morning, my alarm goes off, I say stop. I don't have to find where my phone is, all sleepy in a dark bedroom. And these are just like simple quality of life things that you either care about or don't. I would tell you though, that with Google's track record, your device will probably get better. So, for example, when I got my Pixel 6, my fingerprint scanner was okay, but it wasn't great, and it became a lot better. With my Pixel 6, my battery life started out okay, and then it became a lot better. And I'm not saying that you should believe Google's promises, but Google's track record would say that the devices get better with updates and get better over time. My Samsung device has also gotten better over time, but other devices that I've had in the past have not gotten better over time. And I think that looking into the future, more premium brands or brands that are not trying to sell you the highest spec at the lowest price possible are going to care about returning users and growing their user base. And part of that is having a device that ages well. And if you care about that, well, your options really are Google, Samsung, maybe Oppo with some of Oppo's devices, but you can't expect to get a great long-term user experience for the cheapest price possible. And ultimately, that's why the Pixel 7 Pro hardware is worth the premium that it is.